Hey, it's Dustin Harris, yo. Welcome to another mini-sode. Kind of an interesting topic, I think, today. Something that I wonder if we ever step back and really look at what we're doing on a regular basis. I know this becomes a general theme quite often on this show that, we are sometimes, a lot of times, doing things like we've always done them. And sometimes we need to step back and say, is that really the right way to do things? I want to remind you, of course, we are sponsored by Anow Software. That is the way to do things, folks, is Anow Software. If you want to manage your entire appraisal office, please check out anow.com/coach. Once again, it is anow.com/coach. Okay, so I was filling out a report. Yeah, I actually do that once in a while, an appraisal report even, a URAR even, a 1004. And it was for an FHA, and there were some repair items. And, this is one of those things that one of these shows, I'm just going to throw myself on the altar. I'm just going to admit that I am not the smartest crayon in the pack. Again, I do things like my mentor taught me sometimes, even still, 23 years into this, sometimes I have to step back and go, did that lovely guy that I call father really know what he was doing? I think he did for the most part, but some things I think he learned from his mentor. And, it just kind of rolls down the hill. And so anyway, I'm filling out this 1004. And to make things less complicated, let's just say there was one repair item. Let's say it was a pre-78 house and it's chipping, peeling paint, right? And I'm filling out the report. It's FHA. Okay. Those of you who do FHA, you know that you can't have chipping, peeling paint pre-78. There's a lead-based paint potential there, even though I think it's the silliest thing in the whole world. I can look at a painting job and tell whether it was done pre-78, right? How many painting jobs are still around pre-78? Anyway, totally off in the weeds here. My point is I'm filling out the report. Don't laugh. I get to the bottom of page 1, and there's that check mark, yes or no. And the question is, are there any physical deficiencies or adverse conditions that affect the livability, soundness, or structural integrity of the property? And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, there's chipping, peeling paint. So I mark yes, and I fill out the information about chipping, peeling paint, and then I start doing my thing, and then I get to the end of the reconciliation area, and I get down to the bottom, and I put a value, and then I remember to uncheck the as-is box and check the subject to completion. Subject to what? I specifically say the subject has chipping, peeling paint. It is pre-78. This is a safety issue. And this report is done subject to that chipping, peeling paint being remedied. And by the way, I always detail out what that means because FHA is pretty clear. There's 3 things that have to happen with chipping, peeling paint. Number 1, you got to scrape the old paint. Number 2, you got to pick up the paint chips. I say that kind of slowly and punctuate it because a lot of people don't do that part, as you've probably noticed yourself. And then you have to paint it again in a workmanship-like manner, right? So I typically detail those out. This report is subject to scraping the chipping, peeling paint, picking the paint chips up off the ground, and repainting in a workmanship-like manner. Now, we're going to go to a break, but I want to ask you a question, folks. What's wrong with this picture? Yeah, I think you all kind of figured it out. We'll talk about it when we get back from the break. First, I want to remind you, of course, we are sponsored by Anow Software. Folks, I'm recording this at the end of 2017. I know it won't air till 2018, but I am recording this at the end of 2017. I'm right in the process of doing my end of the year review, something that used to take a lot of time. And guess what? It doesn't anymore. Why? Because Anow Software has an analytics tab, and I can get answers to anything I want. I want a year-to-year comparison. How am I compared in 2017 to 2016? Bam, I know that right away. Folks, I tell you, it would take Excel a little bit of time, okay, a lot of time manipulating numbers to figure that information out. Anow saves me so much time, not just at the end of the year, but daily. Check them out. Go to anow.com/coach. One more time. anow.com/coach. And we're back, folks. We're talking today about how Dustin is a screw up, how Dustin sometimes does things without really thinking. And I started thinking about it the other day, and I thought, Dustin, that's a dumb way to do things. Why are you doing things that way? And I stopped doing it that way, and I changed. Specifically, we're talking about a hypothetical situation where we have a pre-78 house with chipping peeling paint, and I'm doing it for FHA. Now, as you know, chipping peeling paint is not allowed pre-78 for FHA. And so I had to do the report subject to completion. Now, the problem here, as you've probably already surmised, is at the bottom of page 1, there is a question that says, yes or no, are there any physical deficiencies or adverse conditions that affect the livability, soundness, and structural integrity of the property? Yes, there are, but I did this report subject to that being fixed. Yeah, you got it, right? So I stopped doing that. I stopped marking the yes box. Why am I marking the yes box and then doing it subject to? I should fill out the form as if it were done. Let me give you another example. I've done lots of hypothetical new constructions. Don't we fill out all of page 1 based on if it's already finished? It's hypothetical, right? It's subject to, right? Folks, if you're filling out the bottom of page 1, and you're talking about safety issues, but you don't, and then on the other page, you do it subject to those being completed, I think there's a better way. Now, I'm not saying that the first way is necessarily bad. I think, honestly, the biggest issue here, and this is probably the takeaway lesson, is that you're transparent, right? And even though I've been doing it the other way for many, many years, transparency is important. And even though I've been marking the yes box when we have a situation like that, for the most part, I think I've done that probably on every report, slap my hands. I do have a paragraph in there indicating what will be done, making it very specific that this is a hypothetical condition, that we're doing this subject to that being completed. So I don't think anybody could take me to task and say that it's a misleading report, but I think there is a better way of doing things. That, my folks, my friends, is the lesson for today. Is there maybe not necessarily a bad way that you're doing it now, but is there a better way of doing things? We need to step back on a regular basis and ask ourselves, could we be doing this a little different, a little better? I think the answer is yes. Speaking of being a little different and a little better, how would you like to be a lot different and a lot better and improve in 2018 your business? Folks, I would beg you, I would encourage you highly to come over and be a part of the Appraiser Academy. Folks, as a member of the Appraiser Academy, you have an opportunity every single month to meet live with appraisers across the country. These are business owners, people who care about their business, who care about making more money, being more efficient, being more effective. I will teach you the tips and the tricks and the things that I do in my office that are much different than what you'll find out there in most appraisal offices. Join us, won't you? Come to theappraisercoach.com and go to memberships, appraisercoach.com memberships, and we will see you in the academy.